Hello. Welcome back to my channel. We are back with another Sims video, and today I'm hitting you with a speed build. I know we're all done with cottage living. We've seen so many cottages. Ew, farmhouse. Ew, cute fairy vibes. Ew, animals.
I'm done with cute farmhouse living. I never want to see another cottage again. I have reformed myself. I no longer like cottages. I now exclusively build modern builds.
I want to tell the people out there that thank you for supporting me, and if you don't, suck my
poops. So today I am bringing you a modern tiny home, but with a farmhouse twist. Cute modern home, but for the person who wants to live in nature but still needs some creature comfort. Someone like me. I love looking at trees, but I also like to put eyelashes on and be cute. So this is basically my ideal tiny home if I were ever to just like reject modern life and go and live in the wilderness. If you have yet to subscribe to this channel, give yourself a little cheeky subscription. It's free. Give this video a thumbs up and turn that notification bell on so that you don't miss any videos from me. And if you like building,
do I have news for you?
I stream 4 days a week over on my Twitch channel. We build, we do gameplay, we vibe. It's very fun. So make sure you come and follow me over there. All right, so let's take a look at this build. This lot in Windenburg is normally my favorite lot to build cottages in, but I wanted to see what I could do with the wilderness vibe, but a tiny home. Now, I was very inspired by an A-frame shape of build. I've seen a lot of these kinds of tiny homes that are meant to look like sheds. You probably remember from my last speed build, I did a modern mullet home that was traditional on the front and a modern build in the back. And I made the back look very much like a shed. So I was still feeling inspired by that. So we've made this look like a shed. We've got the A-frame in the front, but wanted the home to be a little bit recessed so that there was a patio area outside. I wanted to put some living furniture on the outside of the build with the idea that, you know, even though this has all the modern trappings of a lovely modern home, this person probably doesn't have a TV. They're probably, you know, when you're living in a home like this, nature is your TV. When you step outside and all you see are beautiful trees, that's all you need. So we put some living furniture on the outside of this build. And with the color scheme, I wanted it to be really nondescript from the outside. So we've gone with this black sort of wrought iron cladding, the wooden cladding on the outside and the wrought iron roof, so that it looks really unassuming from the outside. But then the idea is that on the inside, it is a modern oasis with all the things you need to be comfortable. So there's a lot of furniture in this build from the interior design game pack that we got. I'm still loving that pack. The furniture is really unassuming, but you'd be surprised at how many homes this furniture fits into. It's so universal. It is so easy to match with all kinds of different styles, and I've been really enjoying putting it into my builds. So we've got two little armchairs on the outside and a little coffee table. I'm just imagining sitting out there early in the morning, enjoying a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, looking at nature. Oh, gorgeous. And I knew when I started building this that I wanted to play with platforms. I was actually hoping that I would be able to put a room underneath the platforms. I would really like to see that feature get added to The Sims, that you might be able to put a small room under a platform depending on how high the platform was. Like in reality, you could turn that space under the lofted bed area that I put in there into a den or into a bathroom. If this was a real home, you might be able to make a little den and make something really cute there. But, you know, we're in The Sims, we have limitations, there's only so much we can do. And of course, with these kinds of tiny homes, you need to play test it. It's kind of like building a puzzle. So we put, I believe The Sim's name is Abe. We've got Abe in here to test out the loft, and I really struggled to get this loft together. I tried to cheat it so many different ways so that I could get a double bed in there and still be able to have a good sized bathroom. So I tested out this bed a lot of different ways, and he kept getting stuck, you know? It's typical Sim life, kept getting stuck, and I finally get there in the end, but there's a lot of struggling to get there. With the inside, I wanted to mirror that like nature vibe from the outside. So in the living space, it's a lot of woods, it's a lot of neutrals. But then when I started doing the bathroom, I'm a big believer that small bathrooms should be actually really bright and colorful and gaudy. I think it's actually a better use of the space to make it feel really loud and really fun. Especially, I'm just imagining myself, if I was living in a small home like this and the bathroom was extra tiny, I'd still want it to feel fun. You know, I'd want to feel like every time I went into the bathroom, I was having a good old time. And I went with the blue theme. I think it's fun. I think it's bright. I think it's just a good time. And as I was figuring out the kitchen area, I knew that this bottom lofted area was going to be kitchen dining because the living space is outside with those 2 little armchairs and there just wasn't enough space to get a living area into the actual interior of the home. Again, using a lot of the interior design pack here. This had just come out when I first started this build, and then this was really built over 2 days. The second time I jumped in and started doing all the landscaping, we had already had Cottage Living, so I really use a lot of the interior design furniture in this pack. I moved the kitchen around a few times, so I ended up putting it on the left-hand side and then having the dining on the right. Kept it pretty simple. I tried really hard to see if I could get a sink into that kitchen, but again, was not to be, just not enough storage space. And I also really wanted to get a full-size dining table in there. Again, was just not to be. So we ended up with a little bit of a smaller dining table, just a cute little 2-seater. But again, if you were really living here, your Sims could eat outside. You could create a barbecue area outside for your Sims to sit and chill in. I ended up not doing that because I put it on the gallery and I thought it would be really fun for people to customize and be able to add their own touches to it. And actually, one of my favorite parts of this build is the windows. So in that lofted area, it's kind of windows all around, which I really like. Can you imagine going to sleep in that bed and having it eye level, being able to peek out and look at all the nature around you? That would be my dream. I would love to stay in this house as an Airbnb. And on the outside, we put that piping to make it feel again like this is pretty nondescript shed area, bring that industrial feel into the build. And kept the clutter pretty light. For this kind of a small build, I wanted it to have just the right amount of clutter, a little bit of kitchen accoutrement on the counters there, but nothing too much, just some tea, some cutlery for cooking, and then a little coffee shelf so that, you know, good old Abe can have a cup of joe in the morning, have a cheeky espresso. And then I couldn't help myself. I really wanted to make sure that I set the table so that it felt festive for good old Abe. Got that wall art in from the interior design pack. We got some really good wall art in that pack, didn't we? And I still really like how this shed shape looks. If you don't put skylights in your modern builds, you should. They look super, super cool in the end. Oh yeah, this is where we get into landscaping. I love a bit of landscaping. If you love landscaping as much as I do, you should definitely come and check out my Twitch because we do a lot of landscaping over on my Twitch. But once I started the landscaping part of this build, we now have Cottage Living. It's a whole new world, Aladdin style. And I wanted to put a pond in here because you can't be living out in nature without a pond. And I'm still learning how to play with the pond feature. I always feel like I can't make it look quite as natural as I would like. But before we got this feature, I was already the queen of ponds. I love building ponds. I love building these overgrown, wild-looking natural areas. So all of these features are just super fun for me. And I may have gone a little bit overboard on all the nature in this pond, but I wanted to put some fireflies in and around the trees. I just imagined that looking so pretty. A couple of ducks, some fishies, and then dragonflies out near the front. And I would love to know how you landscape your ponds. I'm still sticking with the way I used to do it before Cottage Living. I love to just replicate that grass all around a pond. And I know they gave us some new foliage with this pack, but I can't figure out how to make it look nice. It always just looks a little out of place for me. So I just went to what I knew best. I got some of that grass, some of those rocks, decorated with some trees, and then a little bit of terrain paint around it to make it look like it's in and of the world. And I wanted to have a nature, super wild part on one side of the build, but on the other side, I wanted to be clear that this was like an urban farming area, that it was a modern home, but that it had plots on it so that they could grow crops if they wanted to, that it had all the nice things that we liked from Cottage Living, but without that cute uwu aesthetic. So I've created a fenced in area that we could put some crops in and a chicken coop so that if they wanted to, they could get some chimkins, get some fresh eggs, but I didn't want to go for that rustic aesthetic. So wanted to give them all the modern fixings that you would expect if you were to come and stay in this urban farm, tiny farm. So we got some sprinklers instead of having to go and water it, you know, every single day. We've got a couple of lots for crops. And then I realized that later, I don't know if I realized it yet, but you can see that I now have officially not met the requirements for a tiny home. So I go in later and remove that gate. It's that gate in that fenced in area that screwed up my tile count for a tiny home. So I go in later and fix it. On the left-hand side, we've got all of those trees from Cottage Living, and then on the right-hand side, we've got the more modern manicured trees. And this is actually one of my favorite ways to landscape. I love the boxy style, those boxy bits of grass. It just reminds me of The Sims 1 in a way that it hits different. I love that Sims 1 boxy building style. I wish I could get The Sims 1 to work on my computer. I've never been able to get it to work. If any of you have any tips on how to get The Sims 1 to work, please let me know. It's on the gallery, you can download it, and I think now is time for us to jump in and take a look at this build. All right, so this is the build finished. It's the wrong season in this save, but we're just gonna pretend it's summer and that all of our plants are lush and healthy, but let's jump inside and take a look at this build. Right off the bat, on the outside on this porch, you've got a little bit of a living space. We've got 2 comfy, cozy armchairs, a little side table that you can put your cup of coffee on, your book, your Kindle, you know, to enjoy the creature comforts of a modern life while looking out at this absolutely gorgeous view. Can you imagine if you lived here and got this view, how stunning it would be? Beautiful combo little outdoor living space. And then you come inside the glass sliding doors to this combo kitchen dining area. Super modern. It's got my favorite lights. These lights I think are from like the bowling pack or something. I don't think these lights have any business being in such a throwaway pack. The bowling pack is honestly like a sleeper hit. But we've got this little cute dining area framed with that wall art from the interior design pack. We've set the table for you. Come join us for dinner. And then on the other side, we've got this cute but compact kitchen. Little bit of clutter, but not too much. Ooh, the gallery ate my stove, but don't tell anyone, okay? Don't tell anyone the gallery ate my stove. And then we've got this lofted bed area. I've separated it off with some hanging plants. I love those hanging plants. And I just think it's a nice way to use the hanging furniture aspect of this bedroom. But then we have this little lofted bed, and I just imagine laying here and looking out at this view. Can you imagine looking out at this view? I mean, amazing, gorgeous, beautiful. I would love to wake up and look around at all this nature and feel like a bit like I'm in a treehouse. It gives me treehouse vibes in a way that makes me super happy. Then we've got a little piece of art here, and then we've got our little one tile, teeny tiny bathroom. I love the loud tiles. These are actually some of my favorite tiles in The Sims ever. A little shower area as soon as you walk in, and then somewhere to do your pee-pee poo-poo. We've got our little sink, and then a mirror to get yourself ready, and then matching blue lights as well. And then you come out the front and you can enjoy this absolutely gorgeous pond area. Absolutely stunning, if I do say so myself. Looks much nicer in the summer. And then we've got this nice modern landscaping on the other side. You come through this gate, you got your little chimkin coop in case you want to have some chimkins. Get your fresh eggs, very glorious. Your hanging plant area, so you can hang your herbs, get your herb on, and then some plots for you to grow some crops with the creature comfort of sprinklers, so you never have to water them ever again. And that's the build. We've got our little skylights at the top here, but I was really pleased with this. For a quick build, I thought this was just a fun way to flex my muscles at modern building again. I'd basically forgotten how much I love building these kinds of modern builds that are inspired by real homes that I'm seeing in the world, and this was inspired by a few pictures that I'd seen of a tiny home, and I just felt super inspired to build. Thank you so much for watching my speed build. It feels really good to be back on YouTube making content. Let me know what kind of builds you would like to see from me next in the comments. Are we over modern builds? Are we over tiny builds? I feel like I don't see that many people building tiny builds anymore, but I still think they're a fun challenge. It's like a puzzle putting the build together, so they're still some of my favorites to do. But let me know what kind of content you would like to see next. If you haven't already, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any content from me. And I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye!